to Michigan State University, where I'm pursuing a Bachelor's of Computer Science from the Honors College, and I'm also a professorial assistant, meaning I get to pursue guided research from my first semester under a mentor from the Computational Mathematics, Science and Engineering department. My research involves the study of single-cell analysis of lung cancer cells. I'm so excited to share my university with you all. Good luck!
So I'll start off my personal guide of how to get into foreign universities and how to secure a great scholarship with a little bit of my story. My college application journey began in July 2021 during the summer vacation break. It was precisely during this period that I began collating and compiling all the documents required for the college application process. And fast forward a little bit into the year, during the months of October and November, I submitted my application along with my essays to 9 different universities in 4 countries, namely the United States, Netherlands, Singapore, and Canada. And finally, I have chosen to pursue Bachelor of Computer Science honors degree at Michigan State University in the United States. I've received a scholarship, a huge scholarship of $45,000 for my degree, along with a paid research position to pursue guided research under a mentor from my first day. Now, as a high school student who dreams of studying in a foreign university, you may ask yourself, what are some of the examinations which I have to take in order to complete the application process? Well, the first one is a no brainer. It's your grade 12 board examination. You have to submit your final grade 12 transcript to the university in order to complete the application process. Secondly, is the SAT exam or the ACT exam. You can take either of the two. These are usually for students applying to US universities. Although these have been made optional the past few years, I would definitely recommend you to take up these examinations because it gives you an edge over other applicants who are applying to the same university, maybe even the same discipline, etc. So you definitely want to stand out, right? And what better way to stand out than take an exam such as the ACT or the AC or the SAT and show the university that you deserve a spot in their program. Third on the list are the English proficiency tests. These are for non-native English speakers and these are in fact used to show the university your command over the English language. Some of the options which students can take up for these English proficiency tests are the IELTS exam, the TOEFL exam, or the Duolingo English tests, which are available these days. Now, if you're a student who's applying to Netherlands universities, some universities will ask you to take up even extra entrance exams that focus on logical thinking, maybe arithmetic thinking, mathematical reasoning, particularly for the STEM related programs. So do keep that in mind. If you're a student who's applying to Netherlands universities, you will have additional entrance exams to give. And as an applicant for Singapore universities, certain majors or disciplines, specifically law or even computer science, may ask you to appear for interviews or even sometimes additional entrance exams. So, the best resource for you to make sure of all these requirements or these interviews, these examinations, would be to go and research about your particular university, to go research about your particular discipline. There are plenty of resources available online, and once your research is ready and it's fully grounded, you can go forth and take up these examinations. In fact, when I submitted my scholarship application to one of the universities, I was asked to either write a scholarship essay of a certain number of words or to present a video recording explaining my stance on the topic leadership and talking about my leadership skills. So, those are some kind of the topics that universities would give you to write about scholarships, and they focus mainly on the pinnacle points of your high school life. And make sure that when you write such essays, you're very meticulous, you're very careful about what you put out there, and try to portray yourself in the best manner possible. Speak about your achievements, but also be true to yourself. You do not want to falsify any information. Now, let's move on to the next phase of your application journey, the university documents checklist. What are some of the documents that you require during the time of application? Well, for starters, you need your transcripts. You'll need report cards for grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12. And if you're a student from a curriculum who hasn't given their final grade 12 examination during the time of application, that's all right. Don't fret. You can submit your predicted scores or any recent examination scores which you have given. Maybe your midterm exams or your term 1 scores. So you can submit all of that instead to the university. Second on the list are letters of recommendation. I cannot stress how important letters of recommendation are on your application. They give your admissions officer a completely different perspective, a completely different angle to your story. They tell the officer what kind of a student you are from a teacher's perspective or from the recommender's perspective. So make sure your letters of recommendation are quite strong. Thirdly, you will need your English proficiency test scores, be it IELTS or TOEFL or Duolingo, etc. If you're a student who is applying to US universities or some universities in Canada, you will also need to submit your SAT or ACT report card. And of course, another major component of your application is your extracurricular record. You need to ensure that your application not only has academics or co-curricular activities, but also some extracurricular activities to show the university that you are a well-rounded applicant. You're a student who focuses on holistic development and not just bookish knowledge. These extracurricular activities can be in the form of internships or voluntary work or even other some kind of help the environment, a community service, etc. It can be anything you're passionate about. You can even start an initiative of your own. So ensure that there's a good balance in your application between extracurriculars, co-curriculars, academics, all of that. And a huge, major important component of your application is your essay. Some universities may require you to write more than one essays. Some universities may ask you specific questions such as why are you choosing this university? Why would you want to study this major? What are some of your goals in life? While some other universities may ask you certain informal questions, some personal questions, be sure that you can answer all of these. I would recommend you checking their website earlier and looking at the different prompts for the essays and taking your time to draft a really good essay, making someone else proofread it, and ensure you take your time with essays. Some other universities may also require you to submit additional essays after you've submitted your application. So also keep checking your emails to ensure that you don't lose track of any communication from universities. If you're a student who's into scholarships, who's looking for studying under a scholarship, then also look into your university's website to see if there are any scholarship deadlines. If so, then you may be also required to submit scholarship essays or even some other form of proof of your caliber to ensure that you are an eligible candidate for that scholarship or award. Now, as a high school student who's embarking on one of the most important phases of your high school life, you might be wondering, what are some of the tips I can use to impress my admissions officers? Well, here are 6 top tips from my side on how to impress anybody who reads your application. Number 1, right from your essays to your extracurricular activities, try to make everything unique. Everything should stand out on your application, even if it is something which everyone else does, maybe an environment activity or a community service. Try to write about it in more detail. Give a lot more details about what you did, when the event happened, what you learned from it, etc. Those are the kind of details that admissions officers want to see in your application, and the way you portray something or an event makes a huge difference. Secondly, your application should speak for itself. Every part of your application should show the admissions team a new part, a new figment of your personality. They should get to know who you are and understand your true feelings and thoughts by the end of their reading of your application. Thirdly, ensure that there are no repetitions in your application. Do not put one event during the first part of your application and write about it again somewhere later. That shouldn't be happening. Ensure that there are no repetitions and everything within your application is also unique. Fourthly, try to bring in a narrative to your essays. Tell them a story of your life. Even if it is something really small, an incident that is not that significant, try to write about it in more detail. Bring in metaphors. Write a story, tell a story through your words, and bring them into your life. For example, this there was this one application where I came across in which the student had described about her liking for puzzles and how from her childhood days she was into puzzle solving. She spoke about her critical thinking skills, her analytical skills, etc. And using the metaphor of puzzles in her essay, she also spoke about how different activities and different figments of her personality are like different pieces of a puzzle that complete who she is and complete her life. So it was really beautiful to see a simple metaphor like a puzzle being used to describe a person's personality or even their interests and hobbies in general. So try to bring in a narrative, use metaphors to tell a story and to draw in the attention of admissions advisors. Fifthly, try to show versatility and adaptability in your chosen array of activities. Try to show them that you're a person who is involved in a lot of different interests and who's very versatile when it comes to doing or participating in events. Show them, maybe, for example, an event where you participated in and campaigned for the environment. And then show them maybe one of your hobbies, or show them an Olympiad competition you participated in or you won it. So those are the kind of different array of activities that would really show the admissions officer that yes, I'm a student who not just focuses on one thing, but I have varied interests too. And it also would show that you are a person who's ready to juggle different interests and take up a lot of work as it is thrown at you. And lastly, always check and recheck your submission, your application, before pressing that submit button. It's very important that you're very happy with what you submit and you're satisfied with how your application has turned out to be. I know that this can be a very uncertain period of your life, and you may feel uncertain and nervous, anxious at times. But all I'll say is be confident, portray your true self, and establish a connection with the reader on your application. Talk about your passions, your goals, talk about why you want to get into that particular university, why you're so passionate about that major. Those are the kind of things that admissions officers want to hear about you on your application. So make sure that you mention these important points. Now, additionally, I also have a few other tips and tricks that I would like to share with you that I believe if you follow, the entire application process is going to be a simple cakewalk for you. I've divided them into three categories: before submission, during submission, and after submission. Before submission, I would say, in fact, during your research period itself, divide your university list into three types: tier 1 universities, tier 2 universities, and tier 3 universities, based on a variety of factors like the climate, the budget, your academic record, extracurricular activities, etc. Secondly, always apply to safety schools. Never make the mistake of only applying to high reach universities or tier 1 universities. You always want to have that good backup plan in case you don't get a spot in your favorite program in that high reach university, right? So always apply to safety schools. Thirdly, be mindful of scholarship deadlines. If you're a student who's keen on getting a scholarship, like I did, then I would say take a note of scholarship deadlines. You'll find such information on your university website, and many universities tend to have separate applications for prestigious scholarships. So ensure you send out these applications also in time. These, in fact, tend to roll out earlier than the regular admissions. So keep track of that. These come out somewhere mostly around September to October. And ensure that if you have to write an essay for your scholarship application, ensure that you proofread it and you portray your best self in that essay. Thirdly, for essays in general, I would say keep editing, have several drafts, and keep working on them, working and reworking on those essays. And it also helps if you can get another person like a teacher or a parent to proofread your essay and give you suggestions on what you can improve. The second category is tips during submission. Now, I would say the best tip of all is to have all your answers, your essays, your personal details typed out in a text document like a Microsoft Word document. And during the time of application, you just Control C and Control V it to your an actual application portal. It just saves a lot of time because most of the application portals for universities these days have a time limit and you cannot keep them open for a really long time. So I would recommend that you have this kind of a setup ready before you actually go to submit your application, and you don't want to miss out on any information that we have written on the portal during time of submission, right? So it always helps to have everything pre-written and just copy pasting it during the time of submission. Secondly, be as specific as possible with regards to details, with regards to names or about events, etc. Be as specific on your application as possible. Thirdly, supply relevant pieces of evidence wherever possible to back up your claims, to back up your skills, your personalities, etc. Always supply relevant pieces of evidence whenever possible. The third category of tips would be after submission. My number one tip would be after submission, always keep checking your university's email for further updates from them. They may even sometimes ask you to submit extra records, extra examination scores, extra essays. So you don't want to miss out on all that, right? Always keep checking your emails from the universities. Secondly, if your university asks you to appear for an additional interview, then ensure that you prepare for those as well. Universities usually give you a time frame of about, I think, 2 weeks before your interview date. So ensure that you maximize all the time that you have before your interviews and give it your best shot. Prepare and anticipate questions, what can be asked during the process, and just give it your best shot. Be true to yourself and tell them about why you want to join the university and why you're so passionate about what you do. Thirdly, Attend all the university webinars and welcome events, irrespective of whether you are going to join the university or not. If you get accepted, I would definitely recommend you to attend all the webinars and welcome events provided by them, because it would give you a good idea and a good insight of what life would be like if you were a student of their institution. And it would also help you to compare between different universities if you've applied to multiple locations. And lastly, make an important decision make the important decision of choosing your university. In fact, this is the most crucial decision that you will be making over the span of the next few months. Now, I know that all of you will be applying to many universities, some maybe in different countries, like what I did, but ultimately you'll have to choose one. And that would be the most important decision of all. So ensure that you take a very cautious and careful decision, a well informed decision when you're choosing your university. And I wish you all the very best on this amazing new journey that you're going to embark on. It will be stressful, it will be hectic at times, but in the end, it will all be worth it. And I wish you all the very best as you move on to this important phase of your high school life.